Okay, it is roughly about 8:36 p.m. Central Standard Time. Got started a little late today. Had a little glitch here to deal with. Got it all taken care of. So welcome to week number one. Week number one of Introduction to Corrections. My name is Richard Wright, and I will be your instructor for the next 5.5 weeks. And I can tell you this already, that this time goes so very fast, very fast. I know we just started classes yesterday, and so what I'm going to spend time today doing is going over the expectations that I have for you for this course, and explain to you the processes to look at, and then focus on things that are um, really important for you to store away and to keep in your mind as we uh, go forward in each of these sessions. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you'll be able to see. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now as you can see, this is what you see when you open up the course itself. And so I do always point out to my students um, the importance of checking everything. So right now I'm going to go ahead and enter what we call, well, I don't have to do student mode this week because of the fact that we are just starting. So this is how you navigate this. At the top of your page, starting from um, right to left, let's look at, these are emails, and these are students. This is a student who told me that they're able to access the course. And so if you were to click on the name, but I'm just going to click on the ones that I sent. I sent you the PowerPoints, and then I sent you the video for the Springboard to Success. So your PowerPoints each week will come. Okay, you should have also gotten my welcome email too as well. I think you probably did. Let's see. Okay, this is that email. And then this is the response to a student to my email that I sent out to everyone, and alerting you about the fact that we have a lecture um, today at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then this is a reply back from Jolene Bauer, letting me know that she's able to access the course. Right. So now let's go in and let's look at what the grade book would look like. This is what grades look like. And it tells me here that one student has submitted their written assignment. I'm not going to click on it because it'll tell me who it is. It says that we have a quiz um, this week and live classroom lecture. Okay, live classroom lecture. So we really only have pretty much three things to do, one of which is incorporated in what we're doing right now in the live lecture. Then you'll have a quiz. All right, and I'll go over that in just a few minutes. Here in the chat box, here you have a lounge where each of you as students have been able to post information that is between you and the students. No one has posted any. Okay, so I'm going to show you where, if you want to do check about some information about me, check the course chat, and you go down here and you'll see that it tells you my name. It tells you the name of the course. This picture is my family, part of my family. These are the four that with my wife and that I'm currently married to. I've been married before. I have four other kids, and that's Richard Jr., who is 26 years old, Julia Alexis, who's be 22 soon, Julian Alexander, who just made 21, and Jillian Richey, who is bigger than this now. She is now 13 years old. My wife, Julia, and myself there. Two Julias. So everybody's got J's. Julian, Julia, Julia, and Jillian. And then there's Richard Jr. He has a J at his end. I have no J's. And this tells you some things about me that you can pay attention to. You'll see this mug shot of me graduating in June of 1978 when I obtained my law degree. 43 years ago, on June the 17th, to be exact, was the date. And then tell you to submit a post yourself. That would be in the lounge, or either you can respond to what I have done as well. And then this is just a mnemonic that I've developed to help students to be successful using each of these letters. And then here is my email address. Now notice it doesn't have a 2 on it. You can send it this way, or you can send it without a 2. That way I'll get it outside of the class. If you put the 2 in there, you don't have to really do it with the 2 in the class because you already have it built into the course, your course mail. And then this is my personal email. This is my phone number, which is this phone right here, the cell phone. You can call me or text me. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And this is my office, which you very rarely use because I'm very rarely there. Okay. So that's that chat thing. All right. So now before we go to the calendar, I want to go back to the course. Let's get back into it. I hit the wrong button. Okay. So on the left side, let's go back into student preview mode. And the reason why is because I want to show you the requirements for this week. So this is how I usually look at it. So if I hit the email with student mode, it won't show anything. It'll show the grade book, but it doesn't show anything here. That. Okay, and then there's the course calendar. So anyway, so during the first week, I don't have to, this is what you see as a mode. And I don't mind sharing. It says everyone that's in your course. This is individuals who are your classmates. These are people, I recognize some of these names from previous courses. Okay. So yeah, so you got a total of 19 students, 19 classmates that you'll have in this particular course. Okay, so announcements. Before we get to announcements, I want to show you how you can see the syllabus, which is very important. And it gives my name, and it gives some important information about my office hours. These are my office hours, guys. You can call me, text me, or email me any hour of the day except the 25th hour. That's my office hours. So what does that mean? You can reach me anytime you need. Of course, so I may not always answer right away, but I will answer um, within a few hours usually. Uh, if you have an emergency, I'm going to say this up front. If you have a real true emergency, the best thing to do is not to email me, but to either call me or text me. And actually, this is the order that would be best. Calling is the best method. And here's the phone number. Don't worry about how late it is. Or you can text me. Now, if you text me, there are times when I will call you right back. And sometimes it'll be late at night. I'll call you right back. I'll call you even on Sundays. If you looked at my background information, you saw that I'm also a pastor of a church. I will not call you during the hours I'm in church, but after church and sometimes before church, I would call you. All right. So very important for you to realize this. I've had students who've had emergencies and they put them in the form of an email. And I said, that's not the best method. The best method is either call me or text me. And if you call me or text me, I will get that message because the phone is with me all the time, all the time. It's even right by my bed when I go to sleep. And that's my email address there. These are some notes that I want to remind you. This is not in the rubric, but I do want to remind you this is for this course. It says you are required to conduct research for all papers. That means the sole source of your papers should not be the textbook, should not be the textbook, should not be the module. You should conduct research. We have some resources I'm going to show you that will help you to find information that you need. Okay. And so you will lose 2 points right off the bat if I see you didn't conduct any research. That's in addition to the points that you already could have lost for other reasons. Your paper should be in APA format. APA format. Now there are some sessions that are coming up that can help you with dealing with APA. I'm going to my email on my phone while I got you, and I'm going to tell you what those are because they just sent them to me. Here we go, APA webinars, but you'll see that under resources as well. So there's one coming up the 13th at 12:50 p.m. Central Standard Time. There's one at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then there's an advanced APA. That's the following week, the 20th at 6 p.m. And so I'm going to show you how to find that in just a few minutes. But what I was going to say is that your resources are very, very, very important. So let's take a few minutes and go over the syllabus while we have it up in front of us. And so this tells you the textbook, which you should have because it's embedded, or either it's an ebook. And it tells you that the term actually started already. I'll tell you about the due dates, specifically on the calendar. You'll find your due dates on your calendar as well as in the announcements. Very important for you to understand that. Due dates are based on, and by the way, you'll notice that it's Central Standard Time. So if you're in a different time, it's not based on the time that, let's say it's 8:30 Central right now. And if you're on the East, it's actually 9:30. If you're out on the West Coast, then it's going to be 6:30 out there. 6:30 is 8:30 my time. Okay. So anyway, you have weekly discussion posts. Now, this week in this course, there is no discussion post. So I'll reserve that to talk about next week, so you understand. But one thing I will say while I'm at it is that when you do your discussion posts for starting with week 2, your initial post will be due on Tuesday, and your reply post will be due on Saturday. Now, what I want to say to you about it, just for your own information, is that you will not be able to see a post when you open up your discussion until you post your own initial post. Because I have what we call a post first setting, which means that in order to get the information, you have to first post yourself. Okay. So that's about discussions. Discussions should be detailed. They should not be yes or no. It's not sufficient to get points. I'll tell you that. Your posts are due, as I say, on Tuesdays. Each day they're late, you lose 1 point. By Saturday, that's when your second post is due. Then you will, if you post your initial post and reply post on Saturday, then you would run into a problem. And the problem that you would run into is that you would lose 4 points off your initial post. If you submit your initial post on Saturday, hear me, you're still going to lose 4 points, but then you can even be given what I call a mulligan, or another day to submit your reply post, which means Sunday. But if you submit your initial post and reply post on that Sunday, deals are off. You will get a 0. I'm telling you this right now. You have plenty of notice in this course, since there is no discussion post that's going to be due this week. But we'll talk about that again next week, but be aware of that. Okay. The librarian learning source will help you, as I said, with APA. Very important, very important. Citations in the body and references at the end. The requirements for this course consist of reading the discussion posts. By the way, I do encourage students to reply to more than one post. Makes your discussion forum more interesting. Doesn't get you more points though, but I do let you know I appreciate it. Your written assignments as well, which we'll go over, and then your quizzes. Each quiz will contain multiple choice and true-false questions, and will be timed, people. Once they start, you can't stop them, because in that period of time, they're going to run out. We'll talk about that when we get to assignments. And then your live classroom lectures are, you're going to see them in the calendar. They're Wednesday nights for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. There is no lecture for week 6 in this course. So the interesting thing about this course is there's no discussion post for the week 1, and there's no live lecture for week 5. There is a week 6 requirement, but I usually cover that during week 5. So you got a ways to go. So here's your percentage breakdown on the course. Speaks for itself. Notice this: 150 points for discussion posts. Assignments, you get 280, and then 168 for your for your assignments and discussion posts, and then 30 points for live classroom lectures. At the end of the lecture or during the lecture, I will give you a key phrase that I want you to submit, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Now, I want to say this to you. Some of you who know me from other classes already know what I'm about to say, is that I'm an AB professor. I'm not a C, D, or F professor. So never ask me what you need to do to get a C in my course. Don't ask me what it takes just to pass. It is very important for you to understand that I operate on getting students to the honor roll and dean's list, or should I say it the other way around, because A's are dean list and the B's are honor roll. That's where I want you to be, because the reason why I want you to be that way is because it gets you into the habit of doing a good job on your assignments. It's my experience, based on my success in life, that when you start in school performing well, you develop good work habits and you will excel and you will climb the ladder in employment. I have been very good at doing those things. So it's very, very, very important. And so you want to make sure. So I encourage you to be honor roll and dean's list. And then these are my responsibilities. You can see those later. If you have accommodations, then you'd have to contact your accommodations coordinator who at your campus where you're affiliated with, and that generally is your academic dean. Some instances that I've heard, but I don't know of which ones, the academic dean is the accommodations coordinator if you need those things, and it can tell you what services are offered if you click on this link. I will not and take the time to do that as well. Your advisors will also be able to direct you to that person. Now, in this school, we have identified what we call transferable skills. And what transferable skills are um, things that employers have told us that they want students to have. And we focus on those in the course, whether you realize it or not, focus on them in the assignments that you do utilizing these. Written and oral communication, very critical, very important. I have won cases as a lawyer where people were not able to communicate well orally and or with their written reports that are used in courts often to impeach them, make them look bad. Actually, you make yourself look bad. So we recognize that employers want good communicators that are written and oral communication. There are other courses who help you strengthen those as well. Critical thinking is essential. Critical thinking is all over the place. Departments in law enforcement, in corrections, in all the areas of criminal justice demand critical thinkers. Almost every area that I know today demands individuals to be critical thinkers. That is not just to research and find material, but to be able to analyze that material, to own it, to be able to give some perspectives on it as well. Critical thinking, and I'll show you where you can find more details about critical thinking. I'm a natural critical thinker because I went to law school, because I was taught what's referred to as the Socratic method, where a series of questions were asked. And sometimes you'll ask me a question and I'll ask you a question based upon the question to lead you to the answer. I don't like to spoon feed my students, because my students should be able to develop the ability to be able to think on their own, and so that even if I'm not available, they can find it. Get out of the mindset that it's too hard to find. It's there. All you have to do is sometimes just relax, take the time, to get it done. Don't overthink things. That's a real bad habit that many students have. Digital fluency. Everything's digital in this time. Computers are everywhere. When I came out of law school in 1978, 43 years ago, we didn't have any of that stuff available to us. But now you have systems that you use, like using research tools like the resources that I'm going to share with you, the library and learning resources. We had to actually physically go to a place called the library, whether it was in the school or either the public library in itself, and be able to research and find things. And then your books are digital as well, which is good. So you don't have to carry around a bunch of books like I did when I went through and came up my career. This phone consists of apps. I like the Android, some like Apple. And I'm not an Apple person at all. My kids are, but my wife and I, and one of my oldest sons, he is a Android individual. But the key thing is to be able to master the systems of how to operate using Word, how to operate using PDFs. Word is very important in the course because our written assignments are not turned in PDF. They're turned in Word, and you'll see that in the instructions for these assignments that you get each week. Diversity and teamwork. We are in a diverse society. There's all kinds of problems that are happening in this country today because people do not respect diversity in people. People do not respect the cultures of individuals. People do not recognize that we are from different parts of the world, and that in fact the only people that are true how should I say, um, people are truly from this country are Native Americans. Don't call them Indians. That's offensive. So Native Americans, indigenous people. And these people were here first, but we came from, for example, my ancestors came from Africa. Your ancestors came from various other places, um, Europe or Mexico or other places. You have different ideas of the way you express yourself. Just because you hear the term Black Lives Matters is not a term to kill people. It is not a racist term. It is a term of um, pride, making a statement that you will learn in criminal justice that there's a disparity in how African Americans, especially males, Black males, have been treated throughout. I have a degree in political science. I could go over that with you. But our school is committed to diversity and teaching you to respect people from different cultures. In fact, we have a diversity and inclusion council of which I'm a member of. Because of certain things that have happened, I haven't been able to attend very many meetings, but I am very much in favor of it and will speak on it whenever given the opportunity. Teamwork. We work in teams. You're going to work in teams when you start to work as a professional. You're going to work with individuals from all levels, whether lawyers, judges, whether probation officers, parole officers, whether they're medical people, because you're going to deal with forensic type things, and you're going to deal with different levels in your teams from um, chiefs to captains to lieutenants to sergeants. And the fact of the matter is you're going to work together as a team. You're going to get different parts of the assignment working together to complete whatever it is that is before you. So how do you do that here? The best thing that we do here with teams, because of the way that things operate, is that discussion posts. If we were in class physically, I would do other things, split you up in groups. If we had more people to attend the live lectures, I would split you up in groups. But because of the fact that we have the mode of discussion posts, that's where you collaborate with your classmates and work as a team to deal with issues each week that they come up. Ethics and professional responsibility. Let me just say this. Make ethics your alpha and your omega, your beginning and your end. An ethical student becomes an ethical professional. An unethical student becomes an unethical professional. And you find yourself in situations that you wish you were not. You could end up in jail. You could end up losing your livelihood and things of that nature. We're even learning with law enforcement, particularly, do away with that code of silence and that thing that you want to protect your partner. No, you want to prepare. For example, reports should match what really happened. Now, because of the inclusion of videos, and you shouldn't be concerned about being on video. It's for your protection as well as the individuals you come into contact with. Remember, your objective is to serve the community and to protect the community. First responders there, and so ethics is so important. We teach that in my course. My goal is to produce ethical, professional, and educated criminal justice professionals. That's my role. That's my goal, and that's how I teach, and that's how I operate with my students. I even am going to be doing some work with law enforcement agencies for some municipalities, one of which is close by here soon. And then professional responsibility, you have a code of conduct for all areas that you work in that you want to abide by, and you want to make sure that it maintains the standards of what the profession should be. Informational literacy. Informational literacy means provide information to support your statements that's credible, reliable, and not so much that it's swayed heavily. We want to use sources that don't censor people, but give people a chance to express their position or views. One source that you never use is Wikipedia. Never use Wikipedia. If you rely on Wikipedia for your research, you're going to lose points in my course. You should lose them in other classes. And the reason why is because Wikipedia is a word-based website, and that it can be changed by anyone to include information that they want. So we don't allow that. But information literacy, one of the best ways is to utilize the library and learning resources, which I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes. The attendance policy you can look at yourself. I do want to take time to talk about this last, is that students have assignments that are due on the due dates that are based on the calendar and based upon your announcements. And if you look in the module, you'll see the assignments when they're due. Now, you have up to 7 days to turn in your assignments. So let's use the point that most assignments are due on Sundays. So when your assignments are due Sunday, that means you have until the following Sunday to get your assignments in. However, one caveat is that each day that your assignment is late, you'll lose 10% of the grade. So let's start with Sunday. You have a very good assignment, very good paper turned in, and you'll get 100%. If that same paper is turned in on Monday, you can max the 90. If it's Tuesday, it's 80. If it's Wednesday, it's 70. If it's Thursday, it's 60. If it's Friday, then you failed. Even though you have 2 more days, you can still get points, but that's not, you will have gotten an F in terms of grade, and you don't want that. All right. Now, I already commented about discussion posts, and you should be aware that, again, repeating that discussion posts, which, as I said, you don't have any this week, you will start them with week 2 through 6, is that their due date is Tuesdays, and for initial posts and reply posts. Now, you're going to see in the module the discussion post for the Saturday date. But when you look at the calendar, you'll notice that your initial posts are due Tuesdays. Okay? Except when you get to the last week of the course, it's going to be, well, it's going to still be Tuesday. You'll see what I'm talking about, but we got a ways before we get there. Now, be aware that instructors may waive the late penalty in case of extenuating circumstances as determined by the faculty. That would be me, not your dean, not anybody else, not your advisor. They will ask me, but I'm going to do it based on you. Now, extenuating circumstances is so broad, but you know what extenuating circumstances are. Let me know. So again, if I have an extenuating circumstance, what's the best way to let me know? I already told you earlier. And that's by email, by texting or calling and letting me know. Don't feel that you're invading on my time. I'm not like some professors or most of professors. I'm one of the most on-hands professors for my students, and I will take time to have a discussion with you to encourage you and also to give you information to help you to get an understanding about what your assignments are. So I determine that, and let me know right away. It says in some cases, labs exams must be completed. We don't do that kind of thing. And it says in no circumstances may a student submit work after the last day of the academic term unless an incomplete grade has been requested and granted beforehand. Don't come to me asking me for an incomplete in the 4th week. I mean, you haven't done any assignments from the first 4 weeks. Don't ask me that. I won't grant it. But let me know what your situations is. But please, it is very important that when you get to the end of the course, don't tell me that something has happened in an email. Text me or call me, and then I will respond. And I have to have it agreed before the course is over if I'm going to grant an incomplete. This is the policy below, which I'm not going to go over in details. And then finally, you can take time to read the academic integrity policy on your own, and you'll have that information there as well. Okay. So now let's take a look at let's take a look at the course calendar. Here we go. And I like to put the month view up. And you can see that the course began on, actually the course began on Tuesday. Let me change that. Let me change that. I have to edit it. Oh, I know why I can't edit it, because I'm in student preview. Let me get out of student preview. Get out of student preview. Okay. Okay, so let me fix this. Edit it, correct my error. Okay. Okay, so now you can see, going back to the month, yeah, that the course began on Tuesday. Then your live lecture today, and you'll see here nothing else is due until Sunday, which is the 11th, your live classroom phrase, your quiz, and written assignment. Notice that, okay? And then it tells you your schedule for live lectures and assignments. Notice that every week I will let you know that this course ends on, actually it ends on the 10th. It ends on the 10th. I got to get this, take this out of here. There is no edit single event. I can toss that away. Okay, go back to the month again. And let's eliminate that one, because actually the course will already be over. Okay, throw that out. So you can't, I couldn't do that in student mode. Yeah, let's go back to the month. I think it's only one more for that month. Yep, 71st. And let's deduct that. Okay, let's delete it. So it is no longer there. Okay, so then you can see that the course ends on the 10th. Okay, that's the last day of class. All right, and you see all of the assignments lined up the way that they're supposed to be. All right, so that's your course calendar. Rely on that. Now, 8:30 p.m. Note my calendars are set up in time, but Central Standard Time. If you have a problem with your calendar, which some students did last term, reach out to personal support, and I'll show you where you can find personal support's information quickly in my classes. Okay, so let's go to, let's see, what else do I want to go with before I get to, oh, I want to go back to resources. Here are resources. Now, the resources will give you an idea. Now, remember what I told you about the webinar series coming up? This tells you about these webinars on APA if you need them. Next two Tuesdays, the 13th and the 20th, but the one for the 13th, and then you can click on these and then you can arrange for that. But this resource gives you information for how to research articles, references, how to search for books, the APA guide, which I'm going to have an announcement for you, some other things, Grammarly, very important. Each of your students should have a Grammarly account set up with the school. Click here to create the account right there. If you click on that, I'm not going to do it. It will help you to set it up. You want to use that Grammarly for every written assignment. Don't worry about it for discussion posts, but for your written assignments that you have, you want to make sure, because I run all your papers through Grammarly and check the plagiarism box, because if your papers say more than 25%, then you're going to lose that percentage of points. So let's say, for example, if you have a paper that could satisfy all the requirements, except it doesn't, your plagiarism percentage goes 30%, you're going to lose 30% of that grade for your grade, and I'll override it and mention it in the rubric. All right, when we talk about assignments, you'll see what I'm talking about there. These are noodle tools for helping you to set up um, your proper setup on your papers. Most of your papers should be double spaced. Citations in the body appropriately according to APA, and references at the end with a cover page. Roman 12 should be the font that is in, okay? And we are using APA 7. You'll see that in just a few minutes. Then there's a writing guide to help you with your written assignments. We have a guide that, again, the Library and Learning Center series over here, but if you would click on that, it would tell you others. These are guides that are based upon this course. So since this is criminal justice, School of Justice Studies has its own, and you can go there. And again, it helps with research, database, APA, helps you to understand Blackboard Ultra. Tutoring, if you need a tutor, how to reach out to our great student tutors. And then for the various courses that you have, now this one does not have one. But when you get into like drugs and crime or any of these other courses, there is one that helps you with specific assignments. Okay, again, it gives you the Library and Learning Center series. This gentleman is Dennis Johnson. He is your criminal justice librarian. Bethany Marston is a Learning Center coordinator. She's the one who hires the student tutors, and they help you with various tools. And then down here, there's further information to help you with the School of Justice Studies. Everything you need is right there. All right. So let's get out of that. Okay, so you see what's under the resources tab. Very valuable information. All right, so now let's go to the announcements. Oh, there we go. So one of the first things that I want to show you is an academic integrity video. And there was a photo here of Dean Malatic, but I'm going to click on the link, copy and paste it. I'm going to end up fixing that, but I want to have you to pay attention to this video. It's going to open up in a second. Oh, that's why. Okay, it takes me to it. Paste and go. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let's see. Okay, let's take it over here. Okay, then let's enter. I don't know why it's not. Should be going there. Okay, let's do this a different way. I'm going to have to go back and see why that's not working very well. Let's go back for a minute. Let's go back to the resources. Here we go. The academic integrity video. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this one. So I'm going to click on this. Pay attention to this.
What is academic integrity? Academic integrity is making decisions in your academic life that are based on honesty, trust, fairness, responsibility, and respect. This means being honest in the work you do, while respecting the work that others do. So what is cheating? Cheating means distributing or receiving answers or information by any means other than those expressly permitted by an assignment's requirements or an instructor. Some examples of cheating include asking fellow students for answers or copying answers during a test, using notes, devices, or materials during a test that your instructor has not approved, purchasing papers from websites or other sources, copying your classmates' work, assisting a classmate in misconduct, and other violations as noted in the academic integrity policy that can be found in all course syllabi. Always ask your professor if it's okay to use notes during a test or to work together with classmates on an assignment or quiz. Now let's talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism means using another individual's work without giving them credit or taking another person's work and claiming it as your work. Some examples of plagiarism are turning in an assignment that someone else wrote, copying words or ideas from someone else. This can be a library resource, course textbook, internet resource, or other material without giving the original creator credit, failing to put quoted works in quotation marks, or using someone else's ideas in your essays, but changing a few of the words to make it sound like the words are your own. Plagiarism is not just about written words and ideas. It's possible to plagiarize images, graphs, coding, or video as well. So how can you avoid plagiarism? Cite your sources, both in the body of your paper as in-text citations and on your references page. Whenever you want to use words, images, media, or ideas that were created by another person, you should cite that person appropriately as the source of that information.
But how does academic integrity relate to the work world? Isn't it just a college thing?
No. Integrity in the workplace starts with good practices and skills built while you are a student. Would you turn in a project document to your manager as your own when someone else wrote it? Not if you want to keep your job. Individuals can be reprimanded or even fired from their job for plagiarism. Following academic integrity guidelines while you are in school builds those skills and ethical practices that carry through to the workforce.
Okay, I understand how they're connected, but what do I do if I need more help?
If you have questions on the academic integrity policy, consult your course syllabus, talk with your instructor or dean, and if you need assistance with APA citation style or how to avoid plagiarism, contact the Rasmussen library team through our live chat or schedule a research appointment on our library website or through the resources tab of your course. If you would like APA tutoring, schedule an appointment with one of our peer tutors on the course resources tab.
Okay. And that's works. Oops, I cut it out. I got to go back to it again. My bad. Give me a second here. Cut us out the class. shouldn't have clicked that one. Let's go back, log back in. Okay, now we're going to go back into the course. Okay, so now we're back in the course. Okay, so now I want to go back though for a few minutes and show you something back in resources that I didn't share with you before. Academic integrity, the chat, and then how to make an appointment to set up your librarian one-on-one chat there as well. Okay, now what I was going to show you is that let's see, it is I think it's yeah, here we go. Yeah, the online library homepage. And if you click over these, it tells you the specific topics that you need regarding more about transferable skills, noodle tools, stuff that we talked about. Technical support. Now, if you need technical support, here it is right here. 24/7, 365 days of the year. Now, it tells you what issues that to come up with. Some people like to use help at personal support. I don't use that. I call this number, 866-693-2211, and that will help you to get it. Okay. But the online library is where you can go and find your resources that are very, very credible. Okay. So now let's get into the announcements for the course. Okay, I already told you the academic integrity. For APA assistance, again, I have it on the course homepage. And if you were to copy this and you can open up another window and it would take you there. That's another way of finding about APA, the 7th edition guide that we have here. Click on that. I'm going to fix that though, so it's a hyperlink for you though. Tells you how to prevent plagiarism, citations. Don't worry about annotated bibliographies and things of that nature. So there's a tool that will help you with that. Okay. Okay, let's do this while I'm on it. Some of the stuff I'm doing while I have you guys here. Okay, let's edit this one. Edit it. So what I want to do is I want to take this. See if I can do it really quick. Oh, here we go. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, now it should be a hyperlink. So let's go to APA assistance. Okay, there you go. So now it's a hyperlink. You don't have to copy and paste it anymore. Then we deal with the writing process, which just gives you the steps to your writing guide, which you found in the resources, and it explains run your papers through Grammarly. Writing lab, if you send your papers to the writing lab, it's a 48-hour turnaround, and you will not get an extension based on sending it late to them. Then the final draft comes to me. Then tutors, you saw that information there as well. Okay, adversity is the springboard to success. That's the story about me. If you want to take time, I do recommend it. You click on the hyperlink and it takes you to the actual video, and it tells you about the video. And this is an hour and 8-minute video that, so if you go take time to do that, you'll learn a lot about me and why I am the way I am. I highly recommend taking the time to look at that and share it with others as well. It's a story about how I became what I am. Then your welcome announcement, which you've seen already, and it tells you the term. It tells you what to do. These things are highlighted. Follow them. I've gone over most of them. Your syllabus, your calendar, the lounge, course mail, and then I gave you some resources here. This reminds you about the lecture taking place now, and then tells you that weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5 will take place Wednesdays, and they'll last only an hour. That begins next Wednesday. Some people probably just didn't pay attention to the 7th, and then look at their calendars. All right. And then it also gives you down here how to get personal support as well. There's the phone number for that as well. Then finally, my week 1 announcement. Each week you'll see an announcement which tells you the assignments for this week. The topic, corrections in American history and theory, will be presented. Chapters 1, 2, and 3 of the textbook, which I sent you already. And then you'll see activities about transferable skills, which I've already talked about. The 4 components of corrections. Just be aware up front. There's only 4. And that's jails, prisons, probation, and parole. Jails, prisons, probations, and parole. And I'll just touch on them a little bit tonight. And then evolution of corrections, and then a vocabulary review. And then this gives the schedule. Again, it gives the link that you already would have, and you'll have that in each week's module. You'll see this. It reminds you that there's no discussion assignment, that they'll begin next week. Complete the quiz and the written assignment, components of corrections. All right. And then this tells you again about it. And then it reminds you that my motto is start strong and finish strong. And my motto is adversity is a springboard to success. I've already referred to that. Okay. And so each week you'll see announcements added in here. I usually keep them all so that you can go back and look at them anytime you want to, okay, in your archive. I don't limit when you can see them. So now let's go into this week, this module, and let's talk about the written assignment that you have. And so you are asked to be part of a team to update your county's website with an overview of the 4 components of corrections, which I have told you what they were: jails, prisons, probation, parole. So you're going to explain the functions of each of these and provide detailed examples. I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those very briefly tonight. Describe two unique elements for each component. Two unique elements for each component. And present the contents in color, fonts, and organization to engage the reader. Infographic. Please be sure that you put them in Word document. You can do them in Word documents. Some students say they can't, but they can. It is important because it tells you it has to be in Word, because I have to run it through the Grammarly. And then this talks about tutor match, which we talked about earlier. Okay. This talks about how to make an appointment. I already shared that with you. All right, so now let's take a look at the rubric. Let me say this to you up front. Rubrics are important for grading. You have the instructions given, but here's the breakdown in the rubric itself. And here is the rubric for this week's assignment. Now, I teach my students to ignore emerging, competence, proficiency, but to follow the criteria for each in this column. Mastery. It is so important. So the functions of the components. Remember the four components: jails, prison, probation, parole. So you need explanation, exemplary of each of the four with supporting details. That means citations in the body and references at the end. Okay. Align the goals unique to unique elements. Again, make sure you provide some support for that as well. Presentation. Exemplary presentation with the colors, because I'm going to look at the presentation. How is it set? Is it free from spelling errors? Is it in the proper format? Okay. And that's how you get all of your points. Notice if you don't have any, it goes down. If you get over here, if you have no citations or things to support, you're going to end up over here. And you're going to end up with half the grade, which you don't want to. So it's very important that you get accustomed to using this column, okay, and going through each section. In your grade book, in the grade book, you will see under each of these sections that I've made comments about what you did wrong. If you did something wrong, then you will lose points for that. And that's important. So remember your rubric. It's very, very, very important. I grade on that, and I'll say it every single week. And students will generally not have them. Okay, so that's your written assignment. Make sure you have it's APA formatted. I already said this before. Okay, make sure that you have citations in the body, reference at the end, and a cover page as well. Properly done. And of course you see that's the due date, which you saw on the calendar. Then your quiz, which I'm not going to click on because it will show the quiz itself, and I'm not gonna do that. It's a 30-minute, it's not an hour and 15-minute quiz. It is a 30-minute quiz, and time will start to run as soon as you hit it. Now, the live classroom recording will appear under here, but first it shows you how to get here, and if you were to click on that, it will take you to this, and you click on this and it brings you to the WebEx page. But as soon as I'm finished here, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to put in each week the actual recording that I am doing right now with you guys. Okay, and you'll have that. Okay, so you want to make sure that you note that. Okay, so then you get down here to your live classroom phrase, which I'm going to give you in a few minutes. And what you do is for 6 points, you put the answer in, and then it will you for 6 points you'll put the answer and then submit it in the Dropbox. It is also due by Sunday as well. These are some things that we talked about already in the topics. I'm not going to go spend a lot of time going over them because we already been over them. But if you want to find out more about it, you can do start here, access the resources, and let's see. Wait a minute. This time that they fix it. Let's see if we go back. Okay, let's go to next. I think you have to hit next. Yeah, there we go. Then you have the transferable skills. And if you click on that, and it tells you what I just said, then you go to next. Okay, let's do transferable skills again. Okay, I already told you what those transferable skills are. Then you do next. Then these are our transferable skills, and you can click on each of these and you can find out more information such as critical thinking, and it explains it, digital fluency, information literacy, ethics and professional responsibility, diversity. Okay, so you see that one. And then interpersonal skills. So you click on interpersonal skills and it explains what those are. Then personal skills have to do with of our transferable skills, digital fluency, information literacy, and critical thinking. These are interpersonal skills. The others that have to do with dealing with other individuals as well. Okay. And then you close it. Okay. Then the 4 correctional components. Again, jails. Notice, and I'm not going to go over the history of this jails, but jails you should be aware of are for short term and for individuals who, generally commit offenses that are misdemeanors, which means that the person goes to jail for less than a year or is awaiting trial, and jails are usually conducted by the city or the county. Okay. Prisons are long-term, and those are generally connected by the state or either by the federal government. And so that's the other, and you learn about prisons here. Probation. Probation means an individual, rather than being able to serve their term that they're sentenced to if they're found guilty or plead guilty outside of jail, and they have various resources and are assigned what we call a probation officer to help individuals to deal with that. While I'm mentioning probation officers, if you become a probation officer, you cannot get an associate's degree and be a probation officer in any jurisdictions that I know of. You have to have a bachelor's degree. Okay, we'll talk about that later in the course. Parole. Parole is a person who has found themselves incarcerated. They've either served the amount of time that they are released into the public and to serve the rest of their term. And it depends on whether or not you're in a indeterminate, where the court pronounces the sentence with the range, and the parole authority determines when release occurs within a 2 to 5 year range. Determinate sentencing sets a sentence, and release is calculated from the number of days, months, or years from there. Okay. All right. This is all in your textbook as well. So you know what the 4 components are. So just a little bit about jails and prisons. I already told you pretty much about it, how jails and prisons operate. So you hit start, and this is questions that you can go through. Prisons operating at a federal and state level can be blank run. Okay, and so you put your answer there. I won't put that in there, I'll let you do that. So you can go through those. For probation and parole, you have the same thing. Remember, most of what you're going to learn about things that I say in the lecture, but I'm not going to go through those because today was to set you up and get you started. A series of questions that help you once you've done it. Blank processes rights to apply to the revocation process. You'll know that again when you do your assignments. There's 6 there, 6 questions to help you there. And then finally, well, go back. Okay, we got probation, parole. Yeah, okay, so we did that one. All right. And then your vocabulary evolution of corrections. Let's do that one quickly. And this explains how corrections has evolved. And here's the introduction, and it tells you the direction that it has moved in. You hit next. Then the timelines for corrections. Now, this brings you all the way to the current time, and starting with the Middle Ages, and it tells you all the way from each of these how corrections evolved from the Code of Hammurabi, which was issued in 1750, the concept of restitution, the Roman law dealing with the death penalty, and other sections of criminal behavior. Then in the Middle Ages, so it became more humane with each. You'll notice early prisons, not intended for corrections, but to suspend wrongdoers until they could be executed, punished, or exiled. So you weren't even trying to help them, you just take them out of the system. Early jails, where there was overcrowdedness now, to the 16th century. Minor offenses, as I was telling you, that's the way it is now. Then the Quakers rejected the English criminal law and used hard labor as punishment, fines, and jails, which replaced whipping posts. Then you go to next, and early corrections, and it goes all the way through 18th century. And then the next one, because we're almost out of time. So for the present, all the way from 1876, you'll notice that similar to Bridewell's, the housing was different. Taught a trade and good work habits, strict legal codes, um, the 20s, diagnosis and treatment for modern medicine soon realized this model was incompatible with realities of prisons. And so now here's where we are now. Classification of prisons based on minimum, where the offender did not commit as serious an offense, medium, and then maximum securities increase with technology, privatization, and then prisoners have rights too, as well as on the Constitution. We'll go into those more in detail as well. Okay. Okay, then you close that. And then the final thing is dealing with the vocabulary review. These are words that and phrases that you should be aware of and you should become familiar with from your readings, but be familiar with them before you take your quiz. And then this is a non-graded activity. And then which of the following describes the term corrections? And you'll go through programs, services, facilities, organizations responsible for the management who have been accused of criminal offenses, the law of retaliation, the principle that punishment should be correspond in a degree, actions and practices of individuals designed to induce conformity with rules of normal society. So I like this one, and this is because so that's the correct one. You're going to find out that rehabilitation is the key thing that you're going to hear me talk about over and over. And then you continue and you can do the next one, okay? So you want to go through each of those and be familiar with that, okay? You know what? I don't think you could see any of that. Maybe I didn't share my screen. Oh, okay, I was sharing. This is so crazy now, huh? Okay, so anyway, going down each of these, if you didn't see them, when it comes down to transferable skills, and then you hit start, and then accessibility resources, okay. Okay. Okay, so then you'd go to next, and then you'd see the transferable skills there. Just in case, the 4 components of correction that I was talking about earlier. Here's where you get that information there. Then jails and prisons. This tells you about how to determine that, and you go through and you hit start, and then you begin and you answer these questions. Yeah, I think you saw those. Probation, parole, and then this is a knowledge check. You go through those and submit those. evolution of corrections I just talked about a few minutes ago. Again, you hit start, go through introduction, and then you go next. And then the timelines going through each of these periods, and you can go through the tabs all the way till we get to the current 20th century. Okay, then next. Okay, so you go through all of those. Okay, and then next. And then you close that. And then finally, you go to the vocabulary review, which is where I was a few minutes ago. You hit start. And then I recommend that you prepare, go through these and begin. Okay, which describes the term corrections. And then I said this was the best answer. And the answer submitted is yes. And then you click continue, go to the next one. Okay, so that is it for this week. Again, I look forward to seeing each of you each week. And the key phrase that I'm going to give you is very easy. It is so easy this week. Give me the word corrections. That's you give me that to get your points. So if somebody say what the key phrase is, I already said it. I'll say it one last time. Corrections. I'll see you next week at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, if you need to reach me, you know how to reach me if you've paid attention or listened to the recording. So I'm going to say good night to each of you.